Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Me, Lailatul Fitri from class of International Undergrad Program of Law with number 20 02010054 from Universitas Muhammadiyah Magelang will present about differences in copyright protection based on moral rights and economic rights in Indonesia, US, UK, and Japan. Okay, next. And the table of content, number one is definition of copyrights and moral rights and also economic rights. And the number two is differences in copyright protection in Indonesia, US, UK, and Japan. And the third is conclusion. Okay, firstly, we will talk about copyrights. Copyright is the exclusive right for the creator or recipient of the right to publish or reproduce his creation or give permission for it without prejudice to restriction under applicable laws and regulations wherein copyright itself there are moral and economic rights. Moral Moral rights are the right of the creator to claim as the creator of a work and the creator right to object to any act that intend to change, reduce, or add to the originality of his creation that can doubt the honor and reputation of the creator. While economic right is the right of creator to obtain economic benefit for his creation in the form of money, which is usually called royalties. The company, the copyright of each country is different from other countries. Okay, next, firstly, we will talk about Indonesia. Indonesia is used law number 28 of 2014 on copyrights. And the duration of copyrights, it is for the life of the creator plus 50 years or 50 years after it first announced. Except for 20 years after it is first broadcast work. And for copyrights held by the state on folklore and folk culture projects that belong to the community. And duration of moral rights is valid indefinitely and not transferable while the creator is still alive, but the exercise of moral rights can be transferred by will or other thing in accordance with the law. And the last is duration economic rights. The duration of economic rights varies literally. One of them is the creation of book, music, choreography, and batik art, which is valid as long as the creator is alive and continues for 70 years after the creator dies. However, if it is held by a legal entity, it is valid for 50 years since the first announcement is made. Okay, now we move to second country. Second country is a US. US used a legal basis of Copyright Act of 1960 and 1976. And duration of copyright is lasts throughout the creator lifetime and 70 years after the author death. As for creation in the form of companies or anonymous creator, 95 years from publication or 120 years from creation, whichever is shorter. And the duration of moral right itself, the ownership of copyright can be transferred by inheritance, by will, or bequeathed as personal property under applicable inheritance law. Manual duration of economic right itself, there are the existence of the right to reproduce and perform in the public which aim to provide a sum of money in the form of copyright payment to the creator of copyright holder. Now we move to third country, that is UK. And UK use a legal basis of Copyright Design and Patent Act 1988. And then the duration of copyright itself consists of four groups. One of them is on literary, dramatic, musical, or artistic works, where copyright lies for 70 years from the death of the author. If the author is unknown, the copyright will expire 70 years after the work is first made available to the public. If the work is created by using a computer, the copyright will expire 50 years after the work is created. And the duration of moral rights is an author cannot be transferred to another person. Instead, they pass on to his or her heirs. The right to object to false attribution of a work lasts for 20 years after the creator death, whereas other moral rights last for the same period as the copyrights in the works. And the duration of economic rights itself, there is a right to royalty, which is 50 years after the death of the creator. Now we move to the last country. The last country is Japan. Japan uses two legal bases. Number one is Act number 48 of 1970, and then number two is European Union Japan Economic Partnership Agreement. And then duration of copyright is set for all works. There is a period of 70 years after the creator dies. And then duration of moral right itself of the author are non-transferable, and the duration of the moral rights is file specific. In the field of anonymous creation, it will continue to exist until the end of the period 50 years after the work is published. While duration of economic right itself can be freely transferred or waived, but the author retains the copyrights. The duration of economic right is 70 years after the author death. Okay, now we move to next slide. And the next slide is conclusion. So it can be concluded that copyright is closely related to moral rights and economic rights because it can protect the right of the author. In addition, it has also regulated in every country, especially those that have implemented the Berne Convention. Okay, that's all from me. Sorry if any mistake. If you have any question, you can contact me in this email and also this number. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.